Welcome to Rooster Radio, a broadcast dedicated to supporting and promoting local artists in the Gaston County and surrounding areas.
This episode of Rooster Radio is brought to you by Penix Contractors. You know, one of the things I hear more than anything else is how awesome it looks in here. People are always complimenting the room that we have. And if I'm being honest, it wouldn't look that way at all if it weren't for the guys at Penix Contractors, specifically Eli. Eli and I worked together. They worked with me to make sure that we were able to shape this place the way that we wanted it to look. And they made it all possible. For over 85 years, Penix has been providing construction management services in Gaston County. They've helped build this county and shape the way that it looks. They offer construction management services, they do estimation and bidding, and they can even put you in touch with the right architect for your specific job. So if you're in the market for some construction services, give Penix a shot, man. You can find them at www.penix.com. Tell them that the Rooster sent you. I mean, they made my dream come true. They helped shape this place, and they can help make your dream come true as well. So I've been out of the country, right? And tipping's just a thing in America. Like you go to like Europe, Australia, Asia, anywhere else, tipping's not a thing. Like you just don't do it. And like in Australia, they actually pay their service industry people a fair wage. Yeah. Unfortunately in America, if every restaurant in America paid their servers a full-time wage, there would be no restaurants. Yeah. It's just economically it won't work. You would have to either that or you'd be spending, $100 every time you and your old lady went out to dinner. You know what I'm saying? Right. Even to like a chain restaurant. It's just impossible to make those numbers work. Now, at scale, perhaps their argument could be made for some of these corporate chains and stuff, but at scale, it's just impossible to do. I mean, I did that for 25 years, ran restaurants and worked in restaurants. There's just not enough money in it. But in America, that's the culture. And, it's something that just we all accept. When I go out to eat, I don't go out to eat unless I can afford to leave a tip. Right. I'm not going to take my family out, run up $100 tab and not leave $20. Right. Even shitty service. Even shitty service, I'll leave a tip. But to just not tip at all, and you're trying to be in the entertainment industry, you're trying to be in bars and venues, that's a bad look because people like me and you, we all talk to each other, and once the word starts getting around, there are petty people that'll be like, well, I'm not booking them. Right. That shit's gonna happen.
I know, and a shitty tip, even if it's a shitty tip, it'll go a long way.
Yeah, a shitty tip's better than no tip. Because when you don't,
it says a lot.
When you don't tip, it's like you're saying one of two things. Either you're saying that your service was so bad you did not warrant this tip, or you're just saying fuck you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because that's what it feels like. You're like, oh, and then when you go above and beyond to give them good service, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I've delivered pizza for a majority of my jobs in my past careers, and me and my friend, his girlfriend at the time, ordered pizza from like Domino's, I think, or something. And she didn't tip, and we chewed her out. And she was like, well, I don't know what the big deal is. I was like, if you didn't have enough money to tip, then you should have gone and picked it up.
Yeah, it's just a baked-in cost that you have to take in consideration. And, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that, but I am defending the position because, I can handle it. But my bartender, I want her to be taken care of. I want her to feel good about herself. I want her to feel like she's doing a great job. And when someone's
the little blonde.
Yeah. And when someone
awesome.
Yeah, she's great. She's a hard worker. She doesn't complain about anything. Like she understands the value of just putting your head down and pushing through whatever is happening. Right. And I respect and appreciate that about her more than anything. And then when she gets stiffed after she's gone out of her way to provide this great service, I feel bad for her too. It's kind of hard to hurt my feelings, but I think about everyone else involved too. So it was just
a lot of people still don't seem to get it with waitresses and bartenders and stuff. I mean, that's what is it, $2.13 an hour?
That's what I pay more than that.
Well-
but most places are $2.13 an hour in
She's fortunate.
America.
They're all fortunate that you pay more than that, but most of them play. That's how they make the majority of their money is them tips. Is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying it's right, but it is what it is. It's one of those things. We accept a whole lot worse things, and accept them as reality. What's the big deal about a 20% tip?
Right.
Yeah, but anyways,
Are you
I
going to have a
digress.
logo behind you?
Whatever you decide to put back there, we'll be on all three of the camera angles.
Well, if you got an idea, let me know. I'm totally fine with the Rooster logo. I like it.
Okay, yeah.
All right, cool. We'll do that. We can do that. We'll throw a rooster. Maybe I can take the rooster and your logo and mesh it
Something.
together
We could do.
somehow.
I could do something like that.
Collage.
Yeah.
Yeah, just send me the file for his logo, and
I
I
will.
can do something like that. Or I could even go take my camera and just get a shot of the wall that's over there to kind of use as the wall back here. That'd look
That's
cool
not a bad
too.
idea. Yeah. We'll
Ben
figure it
Gatlin,
out.
Ben's Rooster.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Mr. Ben Gatlin. Ben, how are you doing today?
I'm great, buddy. Thank you for having me, man.
Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Excited.
Ben's riding the wave of the show you did a couple weeks ago here. Man, what a fantastic show that was.
Yeah, we had a blast. We We appreciate you having us. It was everything really I expected. First show in, I was a little just worried, but about turnout and the rain. And,
That's every single night for me. That's every single night.
but man, it did not disappoint. It was a good night. All the openers were great. They brought their crowds too. It was good. Good night.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, it was a real fun evening, and the one thing that kind of I left with was I was very impressed with your song selection, your set list. I mean, you played a lot of songs that are difficult to play. You played and you had such a wide range of genres and music. What goes into that process for you? Because I'm sure not every show you do is the same. So when you decided, okay, this is what we're going to do at the Rooster, kind of what went into that decision making? Because you played Angel Eyes. I haven't heard that song in 15 years. I was like, whoa, this is awesome. So how did you go about that?
Well, first, thank you for even noticing variety of the set list. And you're right. From playing just so long, man, I feel like such an old dude. I'm really not that old, but I feel old. But you've played, we've played places that are, like heavy, like say biker.
Yeah.
And they tend to lean more towards, say, Southern rock and roll, heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And then you play country clubs, and not just because it's in the name, country club. They just like a little bit more mellow, laid back country, maybe 102.9, easy listening kind of stuff. And then, when you do so many weddings and you do so many birthday parties and you do private functions, chili cook-offs, man, you cannot, in my professional, I guess I'm professional opinion,
You're a pro.
you can't just play one genre. Now, there's some, has a market for that, such as like your cover bands and tribute bands.
Yeah.
Who kill it, But when you're a steady working touring band, you have to have a variety. And I've learned over the years that if you want to reach out and touch every single person in that audience, regardless of race, regardless of color, regardless of ethnicity, any of that, you have to be able to play, because there's men and women, there's older ones, there's younger ones, and you got to be able to play a little bit of everything. And I've just learned over the years, how to read a room a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Not to sound arrogant, but when you go in and you play somewhere, and like say, even if it's packed, and your first 2 or 3 songs, just
You're setting a tone for the evening.
yeah, and let's say the first 2 or 3 songs ain't doing it. You just feel that it's not really doing it. You hang a left and you play some Al Green, or play some R&B, or swing right and play some country or something like that, and the room comes alive. Okay, boys, we found it.
Yeah.
So the great thing though is when you play a place like the Rooster, it's a music venue, and we knew before we even came in here. I told the guys when you approached me about this months ago on social media, Before actually we even met face to face, I told the guys, this is one of them places where we can just be ourselves. We can go in there, play what we like, because it's going to be our people mixed with his crowd, and they're there for the music. They're not there for a ball game, or wings or what. You know what I'm saying?
You've been listening to me, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah, it's true. This place is special, and allowing artists to be themselves have given birth to these amazing shows that I'm getting to see every night that we're open. Whether there's 2 people in here or 150 people in here, the shows and so far everyone's kind of brought their A game, no matter what the crowd is. Just last weekend we had Chris Free and Medicine Crow in here, and they killed it. They did a whole set of originals, took a break, they came back out, and they started with David Bowie's Let's Dance, right? And they did it in their style, and it was so cool. But to your point about setting a tone, it's true. We kind of had a little bit of a conversation about this with the comedian Ray Money, who hosts stand-up comedy with Ray Money on the 4th Thursday of every month. But we were talking a little bit about how reading the room, like stand-up comedians, that speaks more true to them than anything else. You bomb those first couple of jokes, it's hard to bring people back. And if you come out and you play some songs that no one's feeling, it can really bring the room down. But I mean, you guys came out swinging. Like, that didn't happen to you that night here. You guys came out swinging. You just set a tone. You set the bar high. Everybody, and people were hooting and hollering and dancing. That's my favorite thing. When I look out from behind the bar and there's people on that floor dancing.
Ours too.
Yeah, it makes me so. It just fills my heart with joy when I see people on the floor dancing. And that's you guys really brought it, and you had people moving and shaking, and it's got to be a good feeling for you too.
Man, it's a great feeling, and I would, and I hope you don't mind the comparison. But over the years, I would put this in the feel of the rooms, like the Visualite, Tremont, and Fillmore.
Man. Appreciate that,
man. But it's in my hometown essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Dallas boy, but I'm Gaston County, and to be able to have somewhere like this local, 15 minutes from my house, and. To touch on what you said, really the bar was set by the openers, man. Bailey Marie Griggs and my sister Beth Gatlin, they just, it was mellow, and it just got everybody kind of warmed up. And it all starts, man, honestly, in my opinion, it starts with the house music.
Yeah.
I learned from a couple sound men a long time ago that as the room starts to come,
start to fill up.
And they start talking, and as they get louder, you want to raise the faders, and you want to, because when we come on, it's going to be, going to be, that's what it's a show, man. You want to kick them in the teeth when you come out there, and they're there to be, they paid that money to be entertained and to be, and I just can't thank you and the staff, everybody, the room, the green room, the load in, everything was just so, and you were so gracious enough to let me, kind of just do my thing with everything, and it was, we just hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
I sure did, and I mean, those are decisions that I pine over every single night. About what music we play on the PA before a show or while people are filling
matters,
up.
Man.
It does matter, even all the way down to what's on that screen behind the stage. Even that. Sometimes most nights we just do a slideshow of upcoming shows. But sometimes I've kind of felt like we've put Charlie Chaplin on there, just duty-free stuff on YouTube just to kind of set that tone. And then even with the music, a lot of times I'll start the night out with some hip hop music. Because hip hop's kind of fun and bouncy and stuff, and kind of gets people going. But then once the band start playing, I'll pivot to that type of music, and I do my best to play all like local bands, local original stuff on the PA. It's what our library of local music is growing every day. But it is something that I think about every single night when we open up. What am I going to play tonight? And then sometimes I get stumped, and I'll just turn to the performer and be like, "What do you want to hear tonight?" I'm not sure, because you never know what type of crowd people are going to bring.
It's important, and it sets the mood. And anytime I've ever been in here, doing the little things we did before, the kind of like open invitation, come sit in and play. We didn't call it open mic, but come out when you first opened.
Yeah.
Was completely different than that night, man. When
Yeah.
it was showtime.
Well, that was
this place-
ill-timed. Yeah, I mean, that was ill-timed. I probably should have waited a little while to try to do something like that. And it was funny because, I guess we can talk a little bit about it, how when I first opened up, handfuls of people were like, you need to get Ben Gatlin here. You need to get Ben Gatlin in here. And I guess people were saying the same thing to you. You need to get to the Rooster, because I reached out. I sent you a Facebook message like, sent you my phone number. It's like, hey, we need to talk. And you hit me up. It was like, I think we need to talk too.
Yeah. That's what everybody's saying. Yeah. And I'm glad they initiated the greeting, because I mean, we would have found each other sooner or later.
Absolutely.
We're hometown boys, but yeah, man, we really had a blast. Can't wait till the next one. And I follow all the podcasts. I follow all the shows, even though I'm not here because I'm doing.
Yeah, you're working.
But
I understand that.
I'm here in spirit, man, and there ain't many people out there, I think, locally anyway, that support you as much as I do, because it's just.
I appreciate that,
your
man.
daily lives, everything is just. I mean, we just need that, man. We need this
Well,
so bad, especially after COVID. This place, I've lived here all my life. We've never had a place like this.
Well, thank you for the kind words, but yeah, COVID did. I mean, I still think, and I hope I'm wrong about this, but I think that there's a small percentage of people that just aren't coming back. They're not coming out their houses anymore. They're going to continue to order their groceries online and everything delivered. There's a small portion of people that they're just not coming back, and that's fine. That's a choice that you're making. But guys like me, I never, I went to a 2-year college. I went to chef school, and then I went to business school for 2 years. I never did the whole 4-year degree thing. And, I didn't get into like a specific skill set industry. I didn't study engineering or mechanical or science, any of that. But for those people that did, when you pour all yourself into this specific industry, whether you're working in a lab, whether you're in a hospital all day, every day, whatever it is you've decided as a profession, you need reprieve. You need extracurricular activity. Because, how many people do you know that have just buried themselves in their career, and they have no more personality, because that's all there is to them now. And so that's where I step in. It's where you step in. We're the type of people that provide this little bit of, relief from the grind every day. And our grind's just a different kind of grind. Our hours are different.
It's still there.
It's still a grind. It's just a different type of grind. It's not the 9-to-5 grind. And I love it. It does tax your family life. It can tax your family life. But fortunately, shout out to C-Dub. My wife's awesome. We still have to talk about things, every day. We just keep working it out, and we get on this new schedule of things. And just like we were talking before the show, you've got your kids a specific set of days, and those are your days. I'm sure you're not looking to book shows on a Monday when you're hanging out with your kids. And same thing. That's why we're closed on Monday and Tuesday. My family's got 100% of my attention on those days.
Well, like you said, it taxes you, it weighs on you, because I've done that, I've played literally, if my body can handle it, my voice can handle it. I've played 7 days a week for years straight.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. We all like money.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy playing, and anybody out there who knows me, I've got a bad reputation for, if I get a little under the weather, I just keep on going and keep on going. Before you know it, have no voice at all. And I have to invite my buddies, who I'm so lucky to have, to come out and sing for me, because I'm like, I sound like Steve Austin or something,
Do you do anything to protect your vocal cords or your voice? Like, do you have a regimen or anything you do to kind of keep
all
up?
the time. What I was getting at was, due to doing that, then it switched to where, when I was married and everything, I had to do, we had to,
compromise.
Right. And it was Tuesday through Saturday and every other Sunday, which is still a lot. That's like 6 days 1 week, 5 days the next week. And now, that I'm older, 43 and 3 kids and everything. Now it's, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's pretty much half and half.
Yeah.
I would like to be playing more, just because I like the money.
You
part.
love it. Well, you love what you do.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's the most important part. Is if I didn't have, it's my therapy.
Yeah.
If I didn't have music or this business or whatever, I don't know. I probably would just perish, you know. But I also have to make a living, you know. But in addition to that, the most important thing, I'm sure you and everyone, you know, worth a damn knows, family is at the top of.
Yeah, it has to be first. It has to be first.
And that's
And that's a lot of the reason why we do the things we do.
of course.
know-
Everything I do is for my children. So
Yeah, and plus you're setting an example, and that's the thing that, excuse me, that's the thing that I kind of lean on. That's kind of my go-to emotion about why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not just about, you know, it's a lot of it's about creating these opportunities and providing this space and giving these people something to do. But more than anything, it's, you know, I've said this before, it's proving to my daughter that it can be done.
Right.
Proving to my kids that, hey, you can do whatever you want to do.
Right.
You just have to be willing to sacrifice and put in that work and grind. And, you know, and that's, not everyone's built for that. You know, and I don't mean this in any kind of negative way. Some people are built for that routine.
Right.
Some people, you know, you see a lot of veterans. They need routine to stay sane.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You take a guy, you put him, you know, you spend 4, 5, 10 years in the military, and everything's routine there. Yeah. And then you just snatch them out of that lifestyle and you put them back into society.
Right.
And it's like, here, figure it out. You know, that's
it's almost like that in and of itself will cause PTSD.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the routine is almost like that's their therapy.
Exactly.
5:30 we get up every morning, we work out, we go for a run, we do this, and then we go to work, then we you know, or have our coffee first. And my uncle was like that, you know.
Yeah.
And to go back to, just so I don't skip anything, to go back to, you know, what I was getting at is, you know, I used to, when I was a younger man, I played all the time. And it's, you know, and now it's not that I pick and choose, but as you get older and you know, you find out, we all mature, you know, and we all find out over time what's most important. Sometimes you learn the hard way, and sometimes it just manifests itself to you, you know, like like sunshine. I now it's went, you know, 4 or 5 days a week, and if something comes in that I really want to do on a Monday or Tuesday, you know,
make arrangements, you make it happen.
Make it happen. Yeah. And yes, I do have to take care of my voice, you know, all the time, because even though I may not be playing, you know, except 4 or 5 nights a week, I'm still doing studio stuff in Hickory or Charlotte, and I'm doing backup vocals here and there. And you know, I'm a big advocate of the honey and the lemon and the tea and the herbal throat coat and breathe deep and all these little things you can get. And I found this stuff overseas. I still haven't been able to get it. It's called Hornet's tea.
Hornet's tea.
And it is said to be able to bring you from basically like a laryngitis shutdown where you're just like totally gone. You could make tea with that. Anyway, I guess it's.
If anyone has a inside track on some Hornet's tea,
Yes.
reach out to either me or Ben, and we'll get it in your
I will
heads.
purchase this from you, and it's look it up. It's wild because it's brought people basically back from death, and they go out and do some of
I've
these
never heard
shows.
of that, but that's interesting. I'm going to go Google that later. Hornet's tea.
Yeah,
That's it.
I'm constantly trying to find it, you know, because I've been so bad before and woke up before a show, and you know, you us men, you know, well, women too. You don't want to cancel, and so you wait and see if I'll get better, and then you wake up the day of the show and you're like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do, and then you know, you just pray and you drink the tea and you eat the cough drop. I mean, dude, I should be some kind of rep for Hall's Honey Lemon.
Do we need to start talking endorsement here?
Yeah, sponsorships, endorsements. I got LeBlue over here and the Honey Lemon cough drops. I keep them all the time, you know. So, yes, definitely to answer your question, I'm always trying to preserve the vocal cords.
Well, not only, getting older, of course, we all know getting older sucks. You know, it's frustrating how right all those people were growing up, you know, telling you all this shit that was going to happen to you when you get older, and you're like, whatever. And then for me, it was mid-30s. I got in a car wreck, and it kind of sped up the aging process for my body. And now at 43, I know when it's going to rain. Yeah. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, that's my age, yeah.
But but not well. You've also kind of earned the right to be a little more selective. You know, that's the other thing that I see a lot of younger bands that reach out and that want to play, and it's like some of the way some of these emails are worded, you're just like, what? Like they're already like demanding, you know, this and this, and I'm like, you know, you're 20. You have to earn that,
Right.
and you've earned that right to kind of pick and choose. You've proven yourself as an entertainer, not just a musician. I want to be clear about that. Ben's not just a musician. He's not just a singer. This dude entertains, and your show was entertaining as hell.
Well, thank you, man.
You've done really well selecting the guys that play with you. I mean,
So lucky.
everyone's up there having a blast. You know, like, and that again, that goes back to one of the things that I love most about doing this is getting to see people in that element.
Yeah.
You know, I get to be surrounded by people that are happy all the time now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in a cubicle somewhere where everyone's depressed and on, you know, medication. You know, humming about, you know, what happened at the Super Bowl. Like, I'm getting to see people ear to ear grinning, happy all the time, and it's infectious. You know?
Of course, the crowd mattered, you know, just as much. But when I looked beyond the lights, about the third or fourth song, and saw a smile on your face, I was like, all right, boys, we good. You know, because it was a good night. And, you know, I'm not afraid to admit it that on the mic, you know, I'm wearing a guitar too. So I'm not like a dance around, jump around, you know, kind of front guy. Nobody'd want to see that any damn ways. But I don't really do a lot of that. I talk and you know, I let my guitar playing and my singing do the talking. But when you get me in a room full of people like that and up there on the stage with those guys, and it's funny, two of my band members have had such bad luck with their bodies, accidents. Jimmy Thornburg Grubb, my keyboard player, he almost lost his life in 2018. He got in a bad accident. My friend Tony's ankle's been completely reconstructed. And, you know, at load-in, everybody's hobbling in. But, boy, at showtime, it's like something happens to everybody.
Yeah, he comes alive.
And Gus, the one behind me that was playing the percussion,
Yeah.
he's like the newest addition, man. And
He looked like he was having the most fun.
he just, everybody, like you said, man, I'm blessed because everybody in that band just, we all just bring each other. And then when you put us in a room like this with a crowd like that, it was magic. And we got a lot of video from that night. A lot of, man, the pictures are insane. Some of them, I've got to.
Shout out to Michael Carter with Crossbeams of Crossroads.
Yes.
Michael's been coming so this whole thing started with him. Him and his wife came to a show, one of the creative music management shows. And we talked briefly, and they really dug the place, and they ultimately ended up purchasing hall passes. So in our hall pass, you purchase, and it gives you, no cover, no tickets for the whole year. They come to any show they want, anytime. So they start showing the shows, and he comes to one show, and he's got his camera. He's like, "You mind if I take some pictures?" I'm like, I don't, no, it's fine, whatever. So he starts taking them, and then he's like, "I'll upload them to the Google Drive. I'll share them with you." I'm like, "Cool." And he shared them, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's for real!" Like this dude could really.
He's got an eye, man.
Yeah, he's got a great eye for live music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's like the whole time he's digging it too.
Yeah.
You know. And I'm so glad because I knew it was Crossroads, but I couldn't remember his name. And then shout out to Cindy Youngblood. I don't know if she still has a company, but she was here, and I played her daughter's wedding, and she took a bunch of good pictures too. I don't know if he shared that same album with you. He probably did. Mm-hmm. But if he didn't, man, I've got some great pictures that I think you would like to have, and I can
just send them on my way. You know, I've actually this week I plan to go buy a new external hard drive because mine's filling up so fast, and I want to get one that's just for all the pictures. I don't know what I'm going to do with all of these photos, but at some point I'll figure something out.
Yeah, maybe some of them that's really good and shows you flipping a liquor bottle or whatever. You're doing your thing back there.
I don't do tricks. I used to.
Can stick it up on the wall.
Now I'm so nervous about dropping a bottle. I'm like real careful with my pours. Like, that's $30 you're going to lose. You drop that bottle.
Yeah, don't want to do that.
Yeah, I had a bartender when we first opened. Dickie, shout out to Dickie. he kind of helped me set the bar up. Me and him worked together on creating the cocktail menu and stuff. And he's one of those guys that can flip everything around and stuff. It was kind of cool to watch. He got offered an amazing opportunity. So I told him, I was like, dude, congratulations. Like, don't feel bad for me.
Dudes, I respect those dudes. I went to culinary school as well, and I didn't finish.
I didn't either. I couldn't afford to stay in.
Well, I was chasing a lady that ended up being my wife, who's now my ex-wife. But we get along. My two daughters are that we had together. They're grown and driving, scaring me every day.
Scared to death, yeah.
My boy's 12, and he's growing like a weed.
My youngest is 12.
Yeah. We got a lot in common.
She's shooting up, and she's all into sports and stuff, and she makes me proud all the time. She's really good at sports, like better than I was. Decent baseball player.
Right.
I was a decent football player, but she's out there like hustling, like I don't know. It makes me real proud. It makes you proud to see your kids do well at things.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Of course, I guess I can take some credit for it because I've been drilling that in her head since she was 3 about, if you're going to do it right. Like, don't half-ass anything.
And I don't push my kids to, just because it's in their blood, heavily in their blood, to do music.
Do they play?
All of them. My middle daughter, Gracie, she I don't know that she's interested, which is fine.
That's fine, yeah.
But whatever you do, do it.
Yeah, just do it well.
And but Kayla sings like a bird, and she can play whatever she touches, she can play. Channing that's my boy. He's some kind of prodigy psycho kid.
Yeah.
The thing is, he can play drums, he can play keyboard, he can sing a little bit, and he's good. Like, he's better than I was.
That's a new thing. When I was coming up, because there was a time where I did play. I put it down and never picked it back up, and now I'm just clumsy with it. But back when I was in a band, I didn't know a lot of people that did everything. But now we see people come in here, like when we do our open mics. Cody, our host, Cody with a K, he plays keyboard, he sings, he plays guitar, he jumps on the drums. And I'm like, wow, hey, like that's a thing now. A lot of people are like that.
I knew he played, I think it was drums. I knew he played drums.
Yeah.
And then the one night I stopped in, or we were setting up to do our thing, he sat back there, and he was killing it on the keyboard. I was like, dude.
Yeah, he's a talented guy, man.
I like Cody, man.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just awesome to see, like, again, I kind of always go back to the love of it all, just putting smiles on people's faces and that kind of thing.
How did the Blues Jam go? I heard it was awesome.
It went really well. It's a bunch of old people.
Did I hit a
button? No. It was fun. It sounded really good. I didn't expect to, I think I might have been the youngest guy there.
Oh, my goodness.
But it was cool, man. It was really cool. We're going to do it again in May. We're going to have another
May the
open.
18th, right?
Yeah. And shout out to David and Mark for setting that up. They came to me and, I didn't know these guys. He had this idea. It's funny how that came about because I had canceled a few shows. I had promoter overstepped a little too far, and I was like, you know what? Let's just not do this. So I canceled some shows, and I had this date, and it was 2 weeks out. Or 2 or 3 weeks out, and Dave he just showed up at an open mic, and with this idea to do a blues jam, and I pulled out my phone and looked at my calendar and said, "What do you think about this day?"
Yeah.
And I gave it to him, and he did well with it. He got a decent crowd in here, and we're going to do it again. I hope that next time we get an even bigger crowd because the music was amazing, man. I mean, there was some loaded talent on the stage that night.
I know David real well, and well, not as well as I know Bump, which is Mark.
Okay.
That's what we all
call him.
His name. Like my keyboard player is Jimmy Thornburg, but Grub, that's his name.
Grub.
And they came down the road, to see us for just a minute, and he was like, "We're going to go up here and meet this guy," and I was like, "Man, Michael's awesome," and Mark, Bump, he mentioned. I think we're trying to figure out maybe something to do up there on maybe like a Thursday or something. I said, well, dude, that's the place to do it. And I'm glad it worked out. I couldn't make it. I was playing in
Yeah, he was working. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind saying, if you don't already know, which people probably already do, but Ben has a standing gig on Wednesdays at Winter Circle. I'm not competitive in that nature, or in that way, I should say. Like, in my opinion, there's plenty for everyone to eat. There's enough for my perspective is more places that offer these types of platforms will result in more people coming out and being part of the community. I think that a lot of people have this mindset that there's this finite amount of sales to go around, and maybe that has been true in the past, but this is a growing town. This is a growing community. More and more people are moving here every day, and everyone's got different tastes, and everyone's got different things they're into. So I don't look at, now if somebody starts talking shit about us, then yeah, I'll get on here and I'll fucking roast you. Let me find out.
Come to that.
Yeah, let me find out you're out there talking shit. Then yeah, I'll come on here and I'll tell you exactly what I think. But for now, anyone providing a platform for artists, anyone giving people something to do to get out of their house and socialize, because we need that as human beings. We need that. We need to be parts of a community. If COVID taught you anything, it should have taught you that it is one of the most unhealthy things on the planet to just sit at home alone.
Yes.
That is not healthy for anybody.
Right.
We as human beings, as a species, we need community.
Right.
We need to communicate.
Socialize.
We need to socialize. We need to find things that we're interested in and be a part of those communities. And that's how we grow.
A better way to do that with music.
Exactly.
That's another thing that makes you, I think, special, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, you're definitely correct. There's more people that think the other way. You're in the minority, and I think the minority is the good. Not that all those people are bad or shitty people, but you're one. I'll just say it. You're one of the only venue owners that I've worked with, for, whatever, that it's been like, hey man, there's enough to go around. Let's not be competitive. Let's be, see, I wasn't, out of respect for you, I wasn't going to bring up the Winter Circle. That's why I said
fine.
down the road.
Yeah, no,
didn't
it's
even say
fine.
what night, and then you did. That's just, that's awesome, and it does go good. And what's awesome, and I don't even know if you know this, but they'll come here, then there. Or they'll come there, and then they'll come here, and that's what we want.
That's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want.
This is a big place. That's a little place. It just works, man.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully it's working too, and it's different. I know it's different here than it is down there.
Yeah.
Because they'll come in and say that. They'll say something like, "We'll come in here for like maybe the more, acoustic or kind of laid back thing," which we can do there too, but it's smaller here and we feel less nervous.
Yeah.
And then there they feel like, here I had a friend, I think it was Brian. He was like, down there, man, I feel like I got to be some kind of superstar on that stage. And I'm like, well, hey, nobody in there makes you feel like that, do they?
No, we don't. Yeah.
That's you.
There's no expectation. My perspective on it is that, hey, you've got a gift to share, and my whole thing is come share it here. You never know who you're going to connect with and who it's going to touch, and I won't name this person, but there's a guy I know from high school days, and he was a musician. He gigged around. He had a band, or I think it was a duo. But he wrote original music, and he did okay. He just gigged around town, the scene for a while. He was in another part of the state doing it. And I think after so many years of it not like manifesting into more success, I think he kind of got, turned his back on the journey, so to speak. And he started to become more of a hermit. He kind of closed himself off and shut himself down. And while I was getting this place going, he showed up at my wife's work. My wife's a vet. She works at a vet office. He brings his dog in. They recognize each other. It's like she tells him what's going on. So we reconnect after I hadn't seen him in years. And we start talking and invite him over to the house, start hanging out. I start to get a sense for who he is now. And he's kind of shut himself off, and which is sad. You hate to see that, especially with somebody who's talented, who has a gift, right? And so, while I'm going through this process, I start to get messages from time to time. Some are supportive and some are like, what do you think you're doing? like it's a big risk you're taking. And there was one night where it got a little nasty. I was like, well, hey, fuck you, man. Like it was kind of, this isn't what he said, but it was in the vein of, who do you think you are? Like, you're not that talented. That's what he told me. He said, you're not that talented. Or no, not that creative is what he said. You're not that creative. And most people would have been like, fuck this guy. But I talked to my wife about it. I was like, first of all, I know he's wrong. I don't claim to be creative at all. That's really not what I do. Yeah, creativity's not, that's y'all's thing. Like, my thing is I can run a bar. Like, that's, if you want to call that creative. But, I could have taken it like in a real negative way, but in fact, the real genuine feeling I got from it was like, this motherfucker's gonna be at the bar all the time. Like, I'm gonna get him back on stage. And I haven't got him back on stage yet, but he's close. And it's, and I think the reason it has taken, this has happened over the course of months. And I think that once you have kind of given up, once you've shut yourself off and you've decided that I'm going to take this negative view of things, it's really, really hard to crawl back from that.
Yes.
And it's really like, because I know, I don't want to turn this into any kind of therapy session, but I understand what depression is like. Like, I know how low that can feel. Fortunately for me, it happened when I was so young that, I spent most of my entire adult life kind of building back up and getting to a point of confidence where I don't feel bad talking about it. I don't feel any ashamed about it or anything. But for most people, you said I'm in the minority. I think that's all the time. I'm in the minority because, most people peak when they're young. You have this awesome experience in high school and in your 20s, but that was a shitty time for me. High school sucked. And as I got older, I got wiser and started kind of putting all these pieces together of like how to live a happy life. My idea of success is not being rich. Like, I know too many people with money that are terribly unhappy. My idea of success is happiness, and that, of course you want your family taken care of. You want to be able to pay the bills. Everyone wants that. That doesn't make you special. But understanding the value of being happy and the value of being comfortable in your own skin, being able to live with yourself, with the decisions and choices you've made, it would be fucking awesome if this place made me rich, but that's probably not going to happen, but it will make me happy. And it will teach other people that there's a way to make your own path. And that's to me is more valuable, more important to me than any amount of money is ever going to be. So I don't even know how we got on this. I'm sorry.
Well, two things to touch on that you mentioned. It's my belief that, the majority of super special people, whether it's athletes, musicians, actors, comedians, like, they are in the minority, in my opinion. Not that, like, the majority of people are just normal fuddy-duds, That's not what I'm saying. And the second thing is, I disagree. I don't know who the friend is, and I wish him and his mental state and everything and his passion for life changes over time, and you do get.
I'm seeing it. It's gradual. Right. It's gradual, and I think that's the point I kind of ran away from. Was the point that I was trying to make was that, hey, it's taking time for him to kind of come back out of his shell, but I'm seeing it happen in real time, and it feels good. Not just to prove him wrong, but to infect someone else with that happiness, with that, bring back that love for the thing that you loved at one point, and you can now love again. I've say things like this a lot on the show about, being a part of a community and, sharing your gift and your art. And, I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm being serious. Like, it's a real thing.
Well, that's what I was going to touch on, that I disagree with the fact that, I think you are very creative to come in with because we've talked some in the past about your music background, and, you claim, that I'm not all that, and I wasn't all that, da-da-da-da-da. But, to have a vision like this, in a place like this, in a town like this, it takes huge balls, for one, because I'm from here, man. I know, and if you're from here, too.
I do. I knew the challenge when I jumped in.
And you are just,
I have an optimism about me that's just unbreakable. You say whatever, say all kinds of mean shit about me. I don't give a shit what you say. I don't care, because you know what matters to me? What my wife thinks about me, what my kids think about me. That matters to me way more than what anybody on social media or around town has to say about me. And if you're right, we'll find out in a year, 2 years, 10 years. We'll see how long I stick around. If I'm gone in a year, then I was wrong.
You ain't gonna find out none of that shit sitting at home judging.
Yeah,
They just
exactly.
need to come the fuck down here.
Yeah, I would like to see more people kind of shift their perspective. Gastonia is a changing community. Gaston County.
Come to a show.
Yeah.
Come out to. I mean, dude, you do so many events that are like $5.
Yeah.
Bro, that's cheaper than a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I know lots of smokers. Just come in to.
Well, I've heard some, that some people, we've had people come in here and didn't want to pay it was $15 for that show that night to get in, and it was a couple. I don't know if they're married or what, but she really wanted to come in and have a good time. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, can I go in and check it out first? And my staff's like, no. And he's like, well, I don't know if $15 is worth it. And those words, worth it. That's what kind of upset me about it. And I felt bad for the lady, because she was ready to have a good time. She was probably going to dance the night away with him, and he might have got lucky that night. But instead, he went home with a lady who's like, fuck this guy. Like, in the back of her head, $15 is not small price to pay. But, you got to think about it like this. That $15 ain't going in my pocket. That's going in y'all's pocket. And that's how we pay, without the built-in, draw of food, we rely on, I want you guys to get paid. And I hear all these stories about bands that told me they've walked away from gigs with $20 or no money at all. And I don't want to be that. I want people to make money doing the thing they love. So we charge a cover charge so that you guys can make money. And it's entirely up to y'all. I'll let you set your own prices. Like, I don't insert myself in those decisions. I think for the most part, artists kind of know what they're worth, what their audience will willing to pay.
Yeah.
And that's another reason I don't get involved. If they want to do $5, fine. If they want to do $20, that's fine. And then you've got like the next. I don't know how to say this without saying it this way, but like the next tier of artists, we've got guys that require they want a certain finite amount of money. That's probably more than I can afford to pay them. And a few of those have taken the door deal that I offer them, and they end up making more than they asked for in the first place. But it requires promoting your show. It requires getting out there and enticing people to come. Because I don't know about you, but I'm done paying $150 fucking a ticket to go to a concert. Like my wife and I went to so many concerts over the last 7 or 8 years, and when we first started dating, it was $50-$60 for a decent seat at like a pavilion or whatever. And then those last couple of years, we were dropping $300-$400 for just the two of us to get a decent seat.
Yeah. And God forbid going and getting a beer that's like $15 for a red Solo cup full of beer. I mean,
those days are over for me.
My thing with that is I can honestly, and I'm not just trying to toot your horn or whatever, but when you can go to a place like this or a local venue and you can hear, and I'm not, I won't say no names just so I don't get sued or nothing, but. Some of these, country acts and, I'm talking about the mainstream people we hear on the radio. Dude, I can come to a place like this or Wednesday night down the road or up the road in Charlotte at Smokey Joe's, and I can hear way better musicians, way better entertainment, way better singers, way better pickers, drummers, organ players, keyboard players. Than going and and it's $5 and $10 and $15.
And remember this: the people that are performing at these smaller venues, your money's going right back into another member of the community you live in.
Right.
A lot of people talk a lot about locals, shopping local and supporting local. This is the best way to support local artists is to show up to those shows. Whether they're original or they're doing covers or tributes. All of them are artists. They've got a skill that you don't have, and that's why you're coming to see them.
And some of the most important people there we touched on, I think, before the show started today was, some of the most important people are the staff at these venues, the bartenders, the waitresses, the door people, take care of them, tip them. The guy at some of these venues that's in the bathroom that hands you a napkin and a peppermint,
Yeah.
give the guy $1, man.
Yeah.
Something. Because you think he wants to be in there? Probably not,
Probably not.
And it's like the first thing you talked about, I don't think I ever got to really, about some of these, I think you called them, like 20-year-olds that's like, well, we need this, and this. I learned really quick. Of course, I was never, I was always one of those people who asked, like, grandmasters like Rusty Barkley, Chris Cook, Jeff Gates, hey, man, what should I charge when I was a kid trying to book gigs? What should I do? What should I, and one of them might say one thing and one of them might say another thing. And one of the first things I learned real quick is you cannot, first of all, if somebody doesn't know who you are,
You can't have an expectation.
You can't be like, give them a spreadsheet of all this stuff that you want and expect, only the red M&Ms.
Yeah.
In the back.
Yeah.
We need, only artesian Everglade water, or whatever it is in these crazy contracts or whatever. One of one of my favorite things, I think it was a place, Double Door at the Lake. They're not open anymore, but it was one of the guys there that was in the back, and he was a promoter, and he just had the silver tongue. And he was like, man, people call me. If I ain't heard of you, you probably suck.
Oh, that's shitty.
That is shitty.
That's shitty thing to say.
But the way what he was trying to explain is, don't hit me up wanting to play in my venue and demanding all this stuff. $5,000 is what he was saying, because these guys from the beach wanted $5,000 to play there, and he's like, well, I've never heard of you. You might kill it at the beach. You might have a great crowd at the beach, but are they going to drive 4 or 5 hours to see you here? Probably not.
Yeah.
So
I've encountered quite a bit of that, because I put our venue up on indieonthemove.com, which is a website for independent artists to find gigs. And I'm starting to think that was a mistake, because I get so many emails from these touring bands or these bands that have a huge following in Alabama or Florida or New Jersey. And it's like, I can't give you what you need. Like, I would love to give you an opportunity, but I can't give you what you're asking for. And I try to gracefully explain that, in these emails, and because it's true. Like, you might be the shit in, Midland, but nobody knows you in Gastonia.
Yeah. And they're probably not going to drive from Midland. If they are, awesome.
Yeah.
But,
So, I think that, if I'm fortunate enough to still be doing this in 5 years, I think that's kind of like, that's in my head, I think that's the point where it's going to get to where it's like, okay, I can pay you this much no matter what. But we're in our first year. We're 4 months, almost 4 months in, and we're still finding that crowd of people that are going to show up no matter what. Right now, there's like a handful of people that are doing that are showing up to just about everything.
I feel like it is continuously growing, though.
But it's very, it's slow and it's incremental. But I need that number to be around 40 to 50 people every night, no matter what. And when we get to that number, that's when it's like, okay, now I can say this is how much I can afford to pay no matter what. And it's going to take a minute to get there. And that's what we're doing. That's what I'm trying to build to that. This place is different. I've seen the look in people's eyes. They come in here and they just don't know what to make of this place. You don't smell a fryer.
Right.
You don't smell grease from fries when you walk in here. It smells like, it smells like new construction still a little bit.
Or smoke.
Or smoke, vape smoke.
There's a lot of there's still a lot of places, especially the further you go down that way.
Yeah.
And hey, just in case they're watching, I love all them places. They let me play there too. But going down toward Kings Mountain, Shelby, they still smoke in them places. The private clubs, they'll still smoke in there. And I thought that when I walked in, I think my first entry into this building was through the green room, and I didn't even make it out there, and I was like, dude, this is like literally a green room, and the couch. It just, you're doing everything right. The stage is nice. The lights are awesome.
All right.
It's just.
I appreciate the love, man. I do. We'll stop jerking each other off now.
All right. Yeah, they don't want to see that. Yeah.
Before we wrap things up, I'm going to sound off, or I'm going to list off some shit we got going on in March. You want to tell people where to find you, social media, online, any upcoming gigs you want to promote? Take a minute,
Absolutely.
look in that camera right there and tell them what's up.
Everything to do with us and our band is Ben Gatlin Band or Ben Gatlin Band 1 on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, social media, all social media platforms, Instagram. It seems like the two most popular right now are probably Facebook, even though the meta change over is insane.
Get me started.
Instagram, TikTok, like I said, Ben Gatlin Band or Ben Gatlin Band 1. Email address, ben at pbooking@yahoo.com. Yeah, that's pretty
And where are you
much.
playing in the next, where are you playing at in March? Where can people come see you?
Oh my goodness. I know locally we are, I play a lot of places that are far off, but we're doing in March 18th, we're doing the chili cook-off expo, if you will, in downtown Mount Holly. That's right there around Trouse Brewery and Jack Beagle's, right around there. That's from 2 to 6 p.m. Every Wednesday night, if you don't mind. We do host a similar open mic right down the road at Winter Circle. Nothing else really local. Most of my places are far away from here. There's, like I said, you got the monopoly on it too. There's not very many places around here to play. I mean, there is, but there's not. So most of my places, Charlotte, Huntersville, Mooresville, and you can just check out any of those pages, and I post all the dates, usually weekly and bi-weekly. It seems that the Facebook and Instagram algorithm seems to work best. If I put it on too early, nobody sees it. If I put it on too late, it shows them a week after we've played.
Yeah.
So if I put it on, right around a week or two before the show, then everybody will see it. So Ben Gatlin Band or Ben Gatlin Band 1 on all those pages, social media. Check us out.
Yeah, check them out. If you haven't seen Ben perform, you really should. It is an absolute treat. It's fun. Like I said, you're going to want to dance, even if you don't dance. And as far as the Rooster goes, here's what's going on in March. Here's just a few of the things we're doing on the March the 10th is a Friday. We've got Idlewild South. They are an Allman Brothers tribute band. They're the Allman Brothers tribute band. They're actually endorsed by the remaining members of that band. Awesome. So that's as close as you're ever going to get to seeing the Allman Brothers, and that's March 10th. On the 11th, we have a huge punk rock show. Some old timers. We got Queen City Rejects. We got Van Huskins, No Anger Control, Self-Made Monsters, and Yaller. 5 punk bands. It's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing people I probably haven't seen in 20 years at that show. On the 16th, we're hosting the Not That Innocent tour. That's Living Dead Girl and Marlene Mendoza are touring. We're going to get local support from Graveyard Boulevard and Out of Oblivion. It'll be their second time playing our stage. The 17th for St. Patty's Day, we're hosting a metal bash, headlined by Fractured Frames out of Asheville and Detest the Throne from Charlotte. The 18th, God, it's going to be a big week. 16th, 17th, and 18th. It's going to be a heavy week. 18th, we're hosting Flying High again. That's an Ozzy Osbourne tribute, and the band Thrill will be opening that show. Outside of that, we're bringing back comedy again on the 23rd with Ray Money, stand-up show. The 25th, we have a country show with the band Sprocket and Rachel Pension. I believe you know Rachel, don't you? Yeah, yeah. She's a very, very talented young lady. So that's on the 25th. And then on the 31st of March, we have the Spring Breakdown with our buddy Hightower. Don't forget, we have the Misfit Market on the 4th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Rooster Palooza Artisan Market will be on the 18th from 11 to 4, and open mics every Wednesday. So go check out Ben Gatlin or come check out the Rooster. It doesn't matter what you do. Just get out and do something fun. Like I said last week, become a part of a community. We need it. As humans, we need it. So thanks again for doing this, Ben. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me.
Awesome. Peace and love.